Hello and welcome to Scots United, where I and my team of Scots bring you the latest in television, movies, and popular culture. So, we're past Oscar Day. Another year has clicked over to the next. And now the clock begins again. That's how I see it anyways. So, I didn't really do predictions. I think, the odds makers had some things right, they had some things wrong. I know I predicted in my mind that Black Panther would sneak in there and take costume design and production design, which it did. And otherwise, I was sort of waiting to see where that surprise would happen. Would it be here? Would it be there? I was looking at screenplay. Editing surprised me. I didn't expect Bohemian Rhapsody to win editing. The sound one's okay, I guess. That was a little bit odd to me. That was surprising. Of course, the big surprise of the night, Olivia Colman. Now, I love me some Glenn Close. We obviously did an Oscar Say What about Glenn Close several episodes ago. This wasn't her year still, And Olivia Colman, though, was fantastic. Her speech was the highlight of the whole broadcast. And so there you go. You've already heard this. You've probably seen it. So yes, Glenn Close is now the most nominated actor to never win. However, it was also announced that the musical version of Sunset Boulevard, which is a part that she originated on the stage, they are going to make into a movie now, because of course there's the old original movie, but this will be the musical version. So who knows? It's Glenn Close. You never count her out. You never think she's done. There's always another day. Hey, if this one wasn't it, next one they're going to just practically hand it to her. Or perhaps the honorary route. We shall see. We shall see. Let's jump in with Scott, though, and go back to TV and Netflix and a current offering that Scott wants to talk to us about.
Hey, Scott. Well, I just started watching Umbrella Academy, and I don't think so.
Really? Because you like comic books, and this is that one where all these women around the world were just walking around suddenly. They were like, "Oh my God, pregnant!" and then had a baby that came out of nowhere, and then this guy came around and tried to adopt a bunch of them and got 7? Is that right? Is that what this is?
I don't know. Maybe I've just read too many comic books or enjoy comic books too much that I just feel like it's derivative. There's 7. One has died, so there's only 6 that reach adulthood, although one was missing. But, there's, the big, bulky bruiser guy who is wearing, a muscle suit, obviously, and he just looks awkward. And he's the straight arrow. And then there's sort of the Batman one, Diego, who's sort of the vigilante, and he's all tough. And then there's the time traveler, who's still a kid, but he's central to the story. The only 2 girls are the one that can make suggestions by whispering gossip, and she can make people feel things or do things. It's such a passive girl power. It's old school comic books when girls had their weak powers and they couldn't be strong. I'm just tired of that. And then the other girl has no powers. That's her storyline, that she was the non-powered one. And maybe they'll discover she can do something later in the show, but I haven't got past the 2nd episode. Because the other thing is, I don't think anybody's that interesting. Ellen Page is the non-powered one, and she just talks through her teeth the whole time and just seems blank. And even the rest, who's the interesting one? Oh, and then, of course, there's the gay one who, he flounces around, and he's a drug addict, and he wears makeup, and he steals, and he's, I think, implied to be promiscuous, and it's just
haven't we seen this before? Yeah, I get it.
I'm bored, and I don't like anybody, and despite her Oscar nomination, I don't think Mary J. Blige can act very well, because she just seems to, half of her lines seem to just sort of thump out of her mouth awkwardly. Maybe because it's awkwardly written. I don't know. I just don't know that I have any real impulse to watch beyond 2 episodes, and I don't think that I will.
Okay, so Umbrella Academy, we did not care for it. Maybe you will. Maybe it's worth a look. I have noticed the reviews have kind of been mixed, so at your own risk. However, there is another TV offering back for its 3rd season on HBO, so let's go to Scott and hear about that. Scott, we need to talk about high maintenance. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't smoke pot. I'm not into pot culture. It doesn't interest me. Pretty much. The show started out as a series of shorts. It was on YouTube, I think, and then it was on Vimeo. HBO kind of adopted it, and now it's on HBO. And it recently started its third season. You can go back, though, on using HBO and watch everything, including the shorts. The main character is the guy, doesn't have a name. He's a pot dealer. He has his bag. He's on his bicycle. He, delivers to people. So yeah, I mean, it's centering around marijuana, and like edibles and mushrooms, but that's pretty much marijuana. But if you are looking for a show that perhaps more than any I can think of really depicts real people, it is sort of an anthology series. It's a real slice of life. It's really kind of depicting a full picture of New York City and all the different kinds of people that live there. And it is a show that routinely shows you people of color, queer people, older people, immigrants, and it's how they all come together. I mean, it's such a diverse and gorgeous show for that reason alone. Plus, there's some really out there weird stuff, funny stuff, heartfelt, moments, because they do. Again, it's this anthology setup. It's various storylines. There might be 2 in 1 episode. And honestly, I mentioned queer people. I mean, it's a show that depicts probably one of the broadest and most interesting depictions of sexuality on TV as well. And that's something, again, that HBO can do. You can't see on every channel, and you don't see, period. It's just truly, truly original, and I just love, I love seeing real people with real bodies interacting in real ways. I love seeing, again, sex depicted between real people in real ways, interesting relationships, people with their faults and it's got a little of everything. And even if one episode is not to your taste, the next one might totally be something amazing. I find every new season is a journey, and I just love this show. Wow. Gee, well, I'm almost moved. So, high maintenance, it's not just for potheads. Now, since, the big high movie time has waning, of course, there's some, blockbusters coming out poised very soon, Captain Marvel, we'll get to that at some point soon. We have here at Scotch United been taking time to check out some little-known films, some cult favorites, perhaps, called from a book that we actually recently came into possession. Hey, our local library keeps giving away books, so we'll take them. I'd like to draw your attention to a movie called The Devils, directed by Ken Russell, came out in 1971, starring Oliver Reed and Vanessa Redgrave. If you are in the mood for something out there, something different, something in your face, something very 1970s in its facial hair and its nudity, it's based on historical truth, a historical account that was written by Aldous Huxley, who wrote Brave New World. There's a priest, played by Oliver Reed, Father Grandier, and he has very progressive views on sex and a few different things, a few different vows that he doesn't really subscribe to. But he's sort of like the leader of this city of Loudun in France, and this is in the 1600s. And then Vanessa Redgrave is this hunchbacked nun who peers at him through the bars of her convent and is obsessed with him and has these sex visions and is just overwhelmed. And she essentially gets pissed off at him because he won't become their spiritual leader, and then suddenly it's like a crucible situation where he has bewitched her, and she's telling Cardinal Richelieu, and they're coming, and they're talking to the nuns, and she's getting the nuns all worked up, and they're all giggling and screaming, and then tearing their clothes off, and it becomes then this whole trial against Grandier, and my God, it is just kapow, in your face. It's available on the web if you just do a Google search, and with, I think, Spanish or Italian subtitles, but in English. Worth a look. If you look for something pure artistry, pure message, just something you don't see anymore, check out The Devils, directed by Ken Russell. And that's it. That's us for this week. Thank you for joining me for Scotch United. We'll be back again next week, and I hope that you have a great week.